Welcome to the Live Well podcast, where we are your partner in successful aging. Today we are joined by a resident of Fort Myers, Florida, who recently celebrated her 100th birthday. Miss Alice, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good, I'm glad to hear that. Thanks for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
So Alice, you were born in 1921.
Yes. That was the year after women got the right to vote.
Is that right?
Yes, they got the right to vote in 1920.
Wow.
Can't believe that.
Absolutely.
That makes you old.
Well, I mean, what can you tell us about early life growing up around those times?
Strangely, I don't remember much about my first few years. I don't know why. Everybody seems to have baby memories. I have none. I have a sister that's 4 years younger. I had a sister 4 years younger than me. And I don't remember when she was born. And I don't remember when my first recollection of her is. But probably my recollections start about age 6.
Now, at the age of 6, is that when, so you had shared with us a little bit of information at the age of 6, is that when you became pretty ill and you had the doctor coming to visit quite often?
That was before that, but I think what I remember of that is what people told me. I don't think I remember that.
Okay.
They said they put me in the front room of the house so that my children friends could come to the window and I could talk with them through the window. I don't think I remember. I think I remember everybody telling me that.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Well, it's almost ironic with the period that we just went through with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
We had a lot of visitation through windows and
Right.
like that. You already had your experience,
Right.
When you were a young child.
Yes.
My goodness. Did they ever give you a diagnosis on that sickness?
My mother said they were concerned that it would go into spinal meningitis. So it was apparently an internal infection in the head area.
Wow.
I know that my eyes swelled closed. I couldn't see.
Wow.
And the only reason I remember that was we were a 3-generation family. My great aunt lived with us, or we lived with her. And she brought me a toy every day from Woolworths, old 5 and 10, and one was a monkey that ran up a string, and I could hear it. So, and again, I don't know that I remember it. I might remember what people said. I would pull that chain, and the monkey would run up and down the string.
So it's almost based on what, like you said, what you've kind of heard.
Right.
So we can progress a little bit further then. Being born in 1921 means that the Depression was looming right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
1930, if I'm correct, right? 1929.
And 30.
Okay. And you spent kind of your adolescent years...
Very bad.
Really?
Very bad.
What can you tell us?
I can tell you that we didn't get a nickel to get an ice cream cone, ever.
Okay.
If we did, we just didn't get it. And I knew better than to ask for it.
Okay.
We always had food on the table. I remember that. But you might not get seconds. I remember saying to a girlfriend, she was a year older than me, and we must have been like 15 and 16, and her father was much older than her mother. And we said to each other, we don't think our fathers will ever work again, because for a teenager, 4 years is forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our impression, that they would never work again.
Really?
And and what was going to happen if they never worked again?
Right.
And there wasn't all these government programs. There was welfare, which was, you didn't even mention that in our house. You didn't mention it. I don't know what my father would have done, but he would not take welfare.
So that was you could call it a prideful moment for him, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
What about any of your neighborhood friends? Did you know of any welfare that was occurring in their homes? Were
No.
they taking the assistance?
Oh my, you didn't talk about it.
Really?
Yes. No,
Okay.
you didn't talk about it.
Okay.
We had some neighbors. One man was a superintendent of a steel mill, and he, of course, they had a maid, and their children were grown, all except one, and it was a mixed neighborhood.
Okay.
Mixed neighborhood.
Okay.
But, some of them had big families, but you just didn't talk about it. It isn't like today. Today, everybody knows that somebody's on food stamps, and they're kind of proud that they get food stamps.
Right.
Then it was a sign that you couldn't support yourself,
Okay.
and that was a dreadful thing, that you couldn't support yourself and your family.
Okay. Okay. Now, did you feel that feeling from both your mother and your father, or was it mostly your father and then your mother kind of went with it?
Well, mothers went with fathers in those days. In my older age, if I'd have been my mother, I'd have spoken up and said, because women could get some jobs, menial, what we consider menial today, but women could get jobs.
Okay.
But my father would have taken that as a gross insult, and she would not do that.
Okay. Okay. So he was the man of the household. He wanted
was the
to
man of the
provide.
house. That's right.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. How things have changed.
How they've changed.
My
And some,
goodness.
in my I would speak up and say, "This is crazy. You're worrying yourself to death, and I can do something." So,
Right.
but that wasn't the way it was.
Right. Okay. Okay.
My sister, in our old age, I found out that she was very resentful of that situation.
Really?
Yeah, she thought they could have done different. I said, "What would you have them do?" "I don't know, but they could have done different." So anyway, that's the difference in our personalities.
And it's one of those situations, unless you're the adult in that situation, you really, I don't know if you can really take in everything that really was occurring around you. As an 11, with the story you gave us, you were 11 to 15 at the time.
Right.
Still very adolescent.
Yes, yes.
It's hard to understand what parents are going through at
That's
that point.
exactly right. We saw it altogether different.
Right.
I saw it in view of an ice cream cone where or penny candy.
Right.
And they saw it in view of putting food on the table
Right.
and a roof over our heads.
Absolutely. So we push forward just a couple years. At the age of 19, you bought your first car. Is that correct?
I did.
And that was for what was the total cost of that car?
Oh, I think it was $125.
$125.
And I shouldn't have bought it. Where it was rusted, that rust was, the car was very shiny where there was something to shine. And I had to have that car so bad. And I got it. And my sister and I left the next day. I was 19. I think. Anyway, my sister and I left to go to Cleveland, to Lake Erie, and for a week's vacation. And the son of a gun had such a slipping clutch, we couldn't get up some of the hills in Pennsylvania. But then I got rid of that, and I got another one for the same amount of money, and it was a year younger,
Okay.
and it was a little better.
Okay. Okay. Now, with that being said, so times must have changed pretty rapidly after the Great Depression, because you went from, like you said, penny candy, and then you were able to earn the money to buy your own car. So
Right.
you had started working then, obviously.
I was out of school a year with part-time jobs, 2 or 3 at a time. Go in the morning one place and work someplace else in the afternoon in the city. And then I got a full-time job working for a Ford dealer doing title work and cashier and switchboard.
Okay.
And I worked there 10 years.
Okay.
So, and I got $100 a month And my friend who recommended me was a teller in the bank, and she wished she'd taken the job because I was making more money than she was. So that was $100 a month.
In regards to kind of everything else around you, like now, we talk about the median household income being $55,000. What did that $100 a month compare back then? Was that above average?
Well, she thought it was above average because it was more than the bank were paying tellers.
Okay.
Lunch, I can remember eating lunch at a lunch counter, and every day you had soup and a sandwich and a drink, and it was 35 cents. So, everything's relevant.
Absolutely.
Everything's relevant.
Okay. And so then I wouldn't call it, struggles is one way to describe it, but it was a battle, because now you had just kind of gotten through the Depression, you're working in your early life, and now we talk about World War II coming.
Right. And we didn't think that would ever end.
Really?
We know, yeah. Again, 4 years is a long time in somebody so young.
True.
And my sister particularly was 4 years younger than me. They took boys before they graduated from high school out of her class.
Wow.
I was different. They were a little older.
Mm-hmm.
They were out 3 or 4 years, but still it was very, very trying. Very trying.
Really?
For the whole neighborhood,
Did it almost seem like it was another one of your childhood friends being taken away to war, like every week or something like that? What was the severity of the times at that point?
Well, 2 doors from us, there was a house that had a mother and 2 boys, Chucky and Jimmy. I think Jimmy was the oldest one, and Jimmy was 18. Looked like he was 14. They took him right out of high school. This 18-year-old kid. His brother was maybe 10. And I looked out the house, the door one day, and the 10-year-old is sitting on the curb, sandy blonde hair, and it looked many years younger than they were, both of them. And he's crying his heart out. His mother had just gotten word that his brother had died in battle.
Wow.
And that I can still see that today.
Wow.
That little boy sitting there.
Yeah.
I can still see that today.
And that was that would have been very soon into the war as well. I mean, it's almost like he got pulled from the classroom, and then shortly thereafter,
I think he graduated and then was taken right then, drafted.
Wow.
Yeah. That's I had 4 cousins. Probably more than that, but that were around us, and the boys all went. One was in Africa, all in different battles. One was in Italy and one in Africa. But they came home all right. But that little boy sitting there crying was terrible.
Was that time, was it almost like those 4 years that we were in that war, was it almost like being on the edge of your seat? It was almost like there was always going to be bad news coming.
Yeah. Nothing was good. Nothing was good.
Right.
Yeah, everybody put so much trust in President Roosevelt. He did drastic things. He shut the banks down real quick. Everybody thought this was terrible. And he really saved the banks by shutting them down. Nobody could get any money for a while, but at least the money was there when they needed it.
Okay.
Eventually, but he had drastic programs. He started the WPA. I see a Works Progress Administration, but everybody says it was the We Poke Along. But it paid. They'd get paid for doing municipal work. repaired the roads, repaired the. A lot of the parks were started about that time.
Okay.
And he did. Everybody trusted him. And you don't see that trust now. And I say everybody, probably not, because the Republicans probably didn't like him. But he was elected for the third term anyway, which is unusual.
Right, the only president to do so, correct?
Yeah, during the war.
Yep. I mean, like I said, you, from 1921 to 1945, you're talking about childhood into your kind of early adult years.
Yes.
You definitely didn't have it the easiest.
You know, when you think about it, you think those two events happened real close together. But at the time, it didn't seem real close together. It was 39 to 43, that is close together.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't seem that close together. I don't have the feeling that, I don't remember that I thought we just jumped from the frying pan into the fire. I don't have that memory of it.
Okay. And then from there, after the war, after things kind of start to settle down, you were right around the age of 35 before you got married, correct?
I was 35.
Okay. Now, during that time, did you ever feel, 35, I think, by today's standards is a little bit more normal. Did you feel pressured to get married at an earlier age?
Oh, I drove the neighbors crazy.
Really?
Oh, yes. There was a man 2 doors above, and he was older than I was. And he was going to the school teacher, but they didn't get married. But yeah, it drove the neighbors crazy. Next door was a lady that had 2 daughters, and she was pushing them when they were juniors in high school. And but I was too busy having fun.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't see any glamour in keeping house and doing all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't appeal to me a bit.
You didn't want to be the typical housewife at that point?
No.
You wanted to be an independent, free spirit?
Yes. I was still doing vacations every year and doing all kinds of stuff.
Okay. And did you feel that if you were to get married, you almost had to flip a switch and become that housewife, or?
I really didn't think about it.
Really?
I really didn't think about it.
Okay.
When I met Duffy, we had a mutual friend, and we went to another friend's house. No, I didn't know the other people, but we went there for dinner, and Duffy had at that time Bart was 8, and so there was Duffy and the 8-year-old, and then this couple who had a baby that was still in high chair. I don't know how old he was, and myself, and he was all right. We had a good time. He was a nice man, and I don't remember much about. I remember we had spaghetti. That's all I can remember. And then I asked him if he'd like to. I was in the Sweet Adelines barbershop quartet, and I asked him if he'd like to go to a square dance, and he said yes. Oh, it's a wonder we ever got married. He never did get the picture of the square dance. Never got the picture. And the more I explained to him, the more he didn't understand it. But Bart, his son and I got very attached to each other. He was serious because his wife had been dead a year, been an invalid for 8 years. So he was serious. No, I wasn't. He was just a nice man, and it was a good time.
So regardless of his square dancing abilities, you guys obviously still got married.
Yes.
And you were married for how long?
35 years.
35 years.
Give or take.
Okay. And after 35 years, she still couldn't square dance, huh?
Oh, it was awful. It was terrible. No, he couldn't square dance. He was a pretty good dancer, but he never got the picture that we repeated the square dances, repeated the same steps. You probably don't square dance either.
I don't myself, but I do know of someone that does.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was a good marriage. We had a good time. We had a good time.
Well, good. I'm glad. And then you're still in contact with Bart today,
Oh my,
too?
yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
He was here for all my birthday parties, and he's got control of my money, and it's my money, but he pays the bills and tells me what if there's anything unusual. And I still have my house, and we rent it. So, oh my, yes, we're very close.
Well, very nice. Good. And so you retired at a pretty early age. You and Duffy both moved down here to Southwest
I never
Florida.
retired.
Okay.
I worked till I was 96.
My goodness. Okay.
He retired. He retired at 62.
Okay.
And we moved, but I didn't. I still worked down here.
Okay.
And I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked.
Well, that's interesting because they do say, some research today says that the longer you work, sometimes it proves to be more effective in living a longer life because you're moving around more, your brain is more active,
exactly
things like
right.
that.
That's exactly right. When I was 96, I decided I'm in good health. I kept thinking up to then, well, God's going to take me pretty soon. And I go to doctors, and my vital signs and my tests would be, he wished his were as good. So at 96, I said to my son, I think I better look for a place to assisted living to go. He said, are you sick? I know I'm not sick. I'm old, Bart, and I want to help. I want to do something for you. I don't want you having to take care of me and worry about me. So a friend, a woman at church said, I know somebody that would probably take you to look for a place. So we shopped maybe 10 different places in town. Made notes of what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, how it rated for cleanliness, friendliness, all that. Finally, I said to her, it's going to get confusing if we do it anymore, so we're going to decide. So we came back. We went to 2 or 3 places, and every time we'd go to one place, we'd say, not as nice as Springwood. Big, high, wide halls, spotlessly clean, friendly people. We ate here twice. The food was all right. So I'd bring everybody I knew over. Let's stop. I want to show you where I'm going to live. It's going to be my new home. And people would say, but why are you going? You don't need to go. Yes, I do need to. Who knows what tomorrow brings? And I don't want some putting me someplace that's not good. So I said, I'll come. I'm going to stay one more season in my house and have the winter fun. And I'll be over on the 4th of April. So it was the 3rd or 4th, was a Monday. And I said, my friends, that's the day I'm going to go. So they hauled all my clothes. The truck brought the furniture and my reading machine, and I came over.
And you've loved every minute.
Yes, it's been great. They're very kind, very nice. The help and I are on good terms. I miss them when they leave, when it changes. It's a very nice place.
Well, absolutely. I think it helps that you have Frances kind of directing the helm here. She's been here, I think, over 20 years, so that's always a good sign.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're very good friends, and it's close to where my other friends are. They can get here in 15 minutes.
Perfect.
And they come. More of them are around in the wintertime, but there's a lady coming this afternoon. She comes every week. So this is my home. This is my home.
And you're happy to call it home.
I'm content, just as anything. Would I rather be back in Thunderbird? Of course. But I can't. Would I rather drive a car? Of course. But I'd kill somebody. I can't do that. You got to do what you have to do. Somebody else can't take care of you. You got to do it yourself.
Right. Right.
Do it yourself.
So work, friendship, and then now your parents, they both lived quite long years considering the statistics for the time. So they were both born right around at the end of the 1890s, early 1900s.
Yeah.
And at that time, the life expectancy at birth for those individuals was about 49 years.
No, they lived to be 76.
Right. So far beyond the average.
Yeah.
Do you feel that those genes have helped you today to live over 100 years old?
I don't have any idea. That's what everybody said. What's your secret? I don't have a secret. I just went every day and did all I could do with as many people as I could do it with, and got up the next day and kept a calendar, looked at the calendar to see what's going on. Okay, I'm doing that tomorrow. Look forward to it. Keep those friends. So I don't know what to.
So not necessarily a secret, but it sounds like you did things that you loved with the people that you enjoyed spending time with.
And tried to keep a good attitude. I didn't like gloom and doom. I don't like that a little bit. And I still don't like that. I know it's right around the corner, but I can't see it around the corner.
So what do you do today? Do you do anything in particular to stay healthy today, or do you just stick with your normal routine that you've always stuck with?
Well, I exercise every morning in the main room there. We do stretch exercises, and then they do yoga. Comes once a month. I do it. And during the pandemic, I exercised twice a day, morning and afternoon, this room.
Is that right?
In this room.
You did it on your own?
Yes.
How did you do that?
Well, I stood at the back of the chair and did what I could do, standing and kicking and stretching, and I thought anything I do took up time and couldn't hurt me.
Right.
Reached and stretched and bent and picked up stuff and laid stuff down, and in the afternoon I thought it was time to do the same thing again. So, well, when they said we were in this room, I thought, what do they do in prison when they're in? Well, some of them have exercise. I can do that. So I did that. Then when it got, I'm at the end of the hall, and we were confined with the closed door. And when it started to slack off a little bit, I opened the door and I'd walk out and down the end of the hall, the short end, and back through my room. I do that for like 45 minutes.
Oh, goodness.
I do with the cane, then I do it with the walker, and I do a little bit without anything. First thing is, they said if you take therapy, you can go outside. Whoa, sign me up for anything there is. I don't care what it is. So then they took us outside the courtyard.
Okay.
And we did our therapy, and they didn't even make me do therapy. I guess they got paid for it anyway. But I did it 5 days a week. I had therapy.
Wow. Wow. And that's lucky for you, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take up too much of your time here, Alice. If you could give any sort of advice to a 20-some, 30-some, 40-some sitting across from you, what would you tell them about living your life to the fullest? Because it sounds like you did.
Be active. Make a lot of friends. Have good friends. Good people. Not just any old person, but make sure they're people of friendly and high character. I have wonderful friends, and these people are my son's age. It might be. I don't have anybody my age. They're my son's age. I don't know. Keep busy. keep thinking, be present.
Okay.
Be present.
Okay.
Some people that don't see, I don't know, you know I'm legally blind.
Correct.
And some people that don't see, they're not with the conversation.
Okay.
And I try to be with what's going on.
Right.
Try to remember things.
So being present, you've had a long life, 100 years now, going on 101, correct?
Yeah.
Being present, even though we feel that those moments might be small, they're still going to be important.
That's very
100 years later.
Yes.
Okay.
They're important every day because it helps you who you are.
Absolutely.
Who you are.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Alice. I really do appreciate it, and we wish you nothing but happiness going forward.
Thank you so much.